Hi, it's Joni here, and this isn't going to be a poetry video or anything like that. I want to talk about my top 10 favourite books of this year. Last June or July, I set myself the challenge of reading a book a week throughout the whole year, so 52 books. I didn't particularly read one a week. It was some weeks I read one a day. Some weeks, it just took me ages. So some books it took me ages to get through, and there's a few books in here which probably took quite a large proportion of the entire year, to be honest. So I will put in the caption a full list of all the books that I read. But here's my top 10 that I recommend. I tried to challenge myself to read books which I wouldn't normally read. I'm quite into dystopian fiction, but here you'll see actually that I really enjoyed some autobiographies, some biographies, some fiction, non-fiction. I've read poetry books. Okay. So I'm actually going to do top 11 because this book, I'm sure quite a lot of you have read. It's Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. And, who doesn't love a bit of, little bit of a love story? I think, it is a beautiful book. I recommend definitely reading it before going to see the film, which is out this Friday, and I'm so glad that Sam Claflin and Emilia Clarke are playing the leads because they're some of my favourite actors. But the book was really good. Read at the start of the year and I was in floods of tears. Really, I found it oddly relatable, which is weird. Obviously I've no idea what it's like to not have arms or legs, but personally I have had experience with not being allowed to do things which I would normally do, and having that medical restriction, and I read it at a time in my life when that was very much the case for me, and I really connected with the book and really felt it. I think it's a really good book, and I think anyone will enjoy it, although it is very sad. Okay, so top 10. So 10 is a book called by Roddy Doyle, and it's called The Woman Who Walked Into Doors. It is so powerful. It's a really gripping book. I recommend all of these books, but it's a really good book. I think it's really cleverly written. With the narrator, you don't really find out what's happening until you get halfway in. I was a bit like, I didn't really get it. It was a good book, but I was like, I don't, what's really happening? And then it just becomes clear, and it's like, it's really powerful, and it really makes you think about, domestic abuse and domestic violence, and I just think, it's really good, really good. Then in 9th, it is, I'm sure a lot of you have actually read this one. I'm surprised I hadn't read it before, but I went to see the play for it, the Nottingham Playhouse near me. So before I went to see that, on holiday I read 1984 by George Orwell, which is just, I don't even need to tell you guys how amazing that book is and how thought-provoking it is, and actually quite daunting and scary. I read it in a day, flat, probably half a day. It was really gripping. I was there in the hotel room just head in book, while the sun was out, everyone outside, I couldn't put it down. I thought, it's very good. It is actually my sort of genre as well, so, dystopian fiction, but this one, it does make you think. It's like, could this happen? I'd definitely go see it. And also go see the play. The play was amazing. Really good. If it ever comes to your town or Impact Travel Seat, you know, it's really good. Okay, 8th, I Am Malala. You know, I'd heard bits and bobs on the news about Malala, you know, a few years ago when she was shot, and I saw her book and I was like, you know, I really want to know more about this, and hands down, she is my inspiration, she is my feminist icon, and just, she is a wonderful human being, and an example of what all of us should be like, and I aspire to be like her. I think what she did was amazing, and her personal story, it just, you know, it just puts into perspective what many girls my age are actually suffering from, you know. So it was really saddening, but also really provoking in the sense that, you know, it made me want to do more than I'm doing for women and for people. I have so much respect for her, and it was just a really, you know, gripping read. Really good. It's amazing. Number 7 was Under the Skin by Michel Faber, and my dad recommended me this one, and I thought it was really powerful. It's kind of loosely based around the idea of vegetarianism and veganism, which is something I feel really strongly about. And I've been a vegetarian my whole life, my parents are, but upon reading this, you know, I'd wanted to be vegan for a long time. This made me convert. This book is so powerful. Please read it. I know there's a film out there, but please read the book, because, you know, it's really hard to explain, but it just gave me the message that, you know, just because we can't speak the language of animals, we don't know what they're saying, but it doesn't mean that they're so stupid or undeserving as we think they are. And that is something which, you know, that feeling, that belief that I have has only gotten stronger from reading that book, and I'm really, really glad that I read it. Really glad. It was a really good awakening for me, actually, and it was really gripping as well. Number 6 was The Mitford Girls, which I got for like £2 from Waterstones on a sale. So it was a pretty chunky book. I wasn't really sure what I was expecting, and I'm not too keen on biographies, but my friend mentioned to me that she'd heard of them, I hadn't heard of them, but one of the Mitford girls she said they dated Hitler or something like that, so I was like, oh, that's quite interesting, and I'm doing GCSE history right now about Germany and the rise of Hitler, so I thought, this could be quite interesting. I could, might help me, even. Like, it didn't really help with my GCSE as much, but I just thought it was really, really gripping, and I've said that a lot, but it was probably the biggest book that I read this year, but, it didn't take much longer than any of the others. I just couldn't put it down. The fact that it was real life, I found so intriguing. It made me think about my relationship with my family and my sisters, and I just thought it was so extraordinary how each individual in this family had done so many different things, and how they were so politically different despite a similar upbringing. And I thought, it was just a whole different look on that period of time than what you study on GCSE, and just a focus into an individual family. I just thought it was really good, and it was really well written as well. That was by Mary S. Lovell. 5th, need to talk about Kevin. Oh, it's such a good book. Really harrowing, but so good. Absolute page turner. Normally, I am not one for this sort of genre because I'm quite easily scared, and it made me feel really weird. It put me off like childbirth, really, really affected me, which is good. I like a book which actually has an effect on me. You might have seen the film. I think the film's quite a good interpretation of it. They miss out bits and bobs though, but I think it's I think the book is a lot better, and I definitely recommend the book. It's it's based around the upbringing of a mass murderer, and it just plays with the idea of is the mother to blame? Is he to blame? Is society to blame? Which I hadn't really thought about before. You don't really tend to think about, the upbringing of criminal. I guess I think, oh yeah, it's their a lot of people just be like, oh yeah, it's their childhood, blame it, like it's their background, blame it on that. But it's like, how much is it? To what extent? And to what extent could that have been reversed? Very good book. And if you're not into reading, watch the film. The film's good as well. I think it's on Netflix right now. Fourth was something my dad recommended to me, which I was a bit sceptical about first, but The Odyssey by Homer. So it's a Greek book, obviously been translated. It's a pretty chunky thing, and I was just thinking, oh, this is going to be a drag. I'm not really keen on older books, but oh my god, it's written in a poetry sort of verse, which I think only helped it flow. It flowed, really, really easy to read. The storyline is just, if you like adventure, this is really good. And I'm not too keen on adventure, and I loved it. I was edge of my seat, and I read before it, which I probably shouldn't have, the Penelopiad by Margaret Atwood, who is one of my favourite authors. As I'll say more around in a minute. Which is about Penelope, which is the wife in it, and about her side of the story, and about her 12 maids and stuff. And so I really enjoyed that, but I was a bit like, oh, what's going on? And this provided the context, because it is about this book, and it was just so brilliant. It's really, really interesting to read something written so long ago, because really good. Definitely recommend it. And it's not a hard book to read. It's a really easy book to read, and I think that is a type of book which I'm going to be looking into more. I'm going to look into more of like Homer's work, and more stuff like that. Third was one of the first books I read actually this year. The Robber Bride by Margaret Atwood. I am in such awe of that woman. Margaret Atwood is my favourite author, hands down. I went to see her do a reading of her new book, The Heart Goes Last, at the Albert Hall near me, and I was mesmerised. She has so much to say. Like Malala, she is one of my feminist icons, personally. In all of her books that I've read this year, and I've read maybe 8, quite a lot of them, just so many messages, so much, you know, some books you get an overall message which is really powerful, but in hers it's like each page has something really important and key on it, and I just think that's beautiful. But this one, The Rob Bride, it's quite hard to explain actually. It's about, you know, the role that this woman played in these three people's lives, and it's really, really cleverly written. There's a lot of plot twists and a lot of, you know, what's going to happen. It's written in three people's perspective as well. I don't know what else to say. I think that's if you want to read anything by Margaret Atwood, I'd start with The Robber Bride. I think that one was, you know, that was the first one I read The Handmaid's Tale, and I thought that's a really powerful book. I read that 2 years ago though, but this one, you know, this one got me hooked on Margaret Atwood, because I think this one was just such a because it has a lot of important messages in it, but the plot is just so intriguing that it doesn't, you know, it's just such an easy read, but such a powerful read. Second is I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith, which is a classic, which normally I'm a bit, you know, but no, this is a really good book. You know, the plot is, it's not a complicated plot or a busy plot, and on surface level it seems quite a basic book, but it's so, you know, I just loved it. I ran around telling all my friends about it and about how they must read this book, and I'm gonna say it to you, read it please. Really good book. Yeah, it's quite set well, it's old fashioned. It's set, you know, like I'm not great on like dates and stuff, but sort of around Victorian times, maybe a bit. I think it was a bit after. Yeah. No, yeah, really good. And then first place, I could go on and on and on about this book. You can tell how excited I am about it. It's Margaret Atwood, of course, and it. My friend's just reading it now, and I screamed. I was so excited about it. I just want to talk to everyone about it and discuss it, and you know, Elias Grace. There's such a good. I'm not gonna. I'm trying my best not to spoil. I'm rubbish at spoilers, but really good plot twist. It makes you think. It makes you question. Turning the page. I think I read this in a couple of days, and it's a good. I think it's a 500-pager, and I couldn't put it down. I couldn't stop talking about it. I think my family must have hated me for those few days. Oh. I don't really know what else to say without spoiling it, but it's just such a powerful book, and I read that before going to see Margaret Atwood, and that really made me excited to go see her, and I got her to sign my copy of it, which is really battered, and I just remember how lovely she was as well. She was just really lovely. I was supposed to go see it with my sister, but then she couldn't come either. She couldn't come with me because she was in hospital, and Margaret wrote a lovely message for her in the book, and that I was almost in tears. I was still really emotionally involved with this book. When I put it down, I felt really empty. You know, like you do with books once you form such an attachment. I was lost. I didn't know what to do with my life. So I was still so emotional over that book, and then I went to see her, and then she was so understanding and lovely, and you know, she really, her books and all of these books, to be honest, have gotten me through quite a tough year for me. And I just really love reading, and I hope that some of you guys will pick up some of the books that I've recommended in this video, and if you've already read them, please tell me what you think. I love discussing books. I'd love to talk to you guys about some of them. All of them. Any book, any. And please, if you've got any recommendations this year, it's weird, I started it like on June, but please tell me, please. So yeah, 52 more, and hopefully I'll see you again next year. Well, sooner than that, but okay, bye.